Hi, welcome to Empty Nest Creations. My name is Wendy. I'm the owner and creator here. Thank you so much for taking some of your time to watch my video today. I really do appreciate it. Today, I'm going to be bringing you three thrift flip projects. These projects are all inspired by Valentine's Day, and they would make great gifts to show those in your lives how much you love them. If you enjoy thrift flips, upcycling, DIY home decor, this is the channel for you. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. You can do that by just clicking that subscribe button and click the bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. I do try to upload a video every week. And so that's just one way that you can help my channel to grow. Another way you can help is by leaving me a comment. Any comment helps. Just giving me a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. Liking this video, sharing this video, those are all ways that you can just help my channel to grow. And I would really appreciate it if you could help me out in that way. And with all that being said, we're going to jump into project number one. So this first project is an interesting one. This piece is actually a piece that I thrifted about 7 years ago and upcycled and sold in my booth. I was in the thrift store a couple of weeks ago and saw this from across the store, and it is a piece that I did. And it's been well loved. It's got some age on it, and some of the paint is chipping off, and this was a IOD transfer that's on here, and somehow it got damaged. So I'm going to upcycle this again. So I started out with just trying to sand some of the transfers. And y'all, these things stick so well. I could not get them completely off, but I'm just sanding it so it's kind of smooth. So that my new paint will cover and not show any of that. So I'm just using a little hand sander here with some 220 grit sandpaper on it and just sanding those transfers smooth. This was a first for me. So if you are an upcycler, let me know if you've ever found something in the thrift store that you have upcycled in the past. That was kind of cool. You could tell that it's been used. It was dirty and had some, paint chipping off of it. But I'm giving it a coat here of paint. This is Fusion paint. I think this is color Rose Water. It's a really pretty pale pink. And this is a paint and primer and top coat in one. And I give the entire piece 2 coats of paint to make sure we've got good coverage and covering up all of that blue and all those florals on there. Once that's dry, I'm going to come in with an IOD transfer. This is from the Rose Botanical Transfer Book. And just cut that so that it fit the space. And I save all those pieces that I cut off because you can layer these. And sometimes you just need that little bit of greenery in the background for something. So I always just save those little pieces to use later. And for the transfers, you just start rubbing on with that stick. And as you rub, you lift that cover sheet. And your transfer should stay down. If you start lifting that cover sheet and any of your transfer doesn't stick, just lay it back down and rub over it again. But these stick really well to this paint. And we're just decorating the front and back. This would be a really cute piece to have on your desk to hold mail or letters. You could hold pens or whatever you want in here. It would also make a really cute floral display. So once I have these down, I give this a top coat, and it's complete. Let me know what you think about this quick thrift flip. I love how this turned out. I love that pretty pale pink. This would be really cute to put your Valentines in for Valentine's Day. And with that, we're going to move on to project number 2. So for this project, I have some tin hearts. These I picked up online, and I'm just going to give these a coat of paint. Now this is DIY paint here that I'm using, and I believe this is the color Kissing Booth. So I'm going to paint some of these with this color, and then I'm going to paint some of them with Farm Fresh. And I do give these 2 coats of paint, front and back. This paint is a clay-based paint, and so I will need to seal this in. And I'm going to use DIY's liquid patina to do that. On these, with Kissing Booth, we're going to use a paint inlay. So this is from the Ditzy Blooms inlay, and I'm just going to put a nice coat of liquid patina down, and then you mist that inlay and lay it down into the paint. You want to make sure that you're putting the paint side down into that liquid patina. And then I just mist the top, use a paper towel to press it down, make sure that it's adhering really well into that liquid patina. You can do this with paint or a top coat. Either way works well. And if you're interested in purchasing any of these paint inlays, I do have these available on my website, emptynestcreation.com. I'm just going to lay those in and then set them aside to dry. And when I use the liquid patina, I do put a nice coat of liquid patina on there. I find that the inlays work better with a nice thick coat of that liquid patina. And so I just press it in, push it in with that paper towel, and then set it aside to dry. Once that paint inlay is dry, I'm going to come back in and spritz it with some water. Let that sit for a few seconds, dab off the excess. You want it to be nice and moist so that that paper comes off. And I'm sorry I got out of frame here. But if you get any resistance, just add a little more water. Let it set for a few seconds. And then just slowly peel that paper off. And you're left with a beautiful paint inlay on your project. Again, sorry I'm out of frame here. Sometimes paint inlays can seem a little intimidating, but they really are not difficult to use. Once you get the hang of it, you just want to mist it, let it sit for a second, and then just peel it off. And you're left with a beautiful image on your piece. And we're going to move on to the rest. So for these, like I said, I'm going to give them 2 coats of Farm Fresh. And you can use your heat tool to dry them. And you want to note that the paint dries lighter than it appears at first. And now I'm coming in with some transfers. This is from the Rose Botanical book. And I'm just using some bits and pieces of these transfers to put on these hearts. And you saw there I used some of those leftover leaves from another transfer that I had cut up. Now this one I'm just kind of tracing around that shape so that I know that I have the perfect size to fit on here. And you just rub with your transfer tool and lift that cover sheet, and then I buff it down just to make sure that that transfer is adhered really well. So there's 8 of these farm fresh hearts, and I'm just going to give them a nice coat, put a transfer on each one. And then once that's done, we're going to move on to the next part. These go on really well here too. I did put a top coat on here before I laid these down. I'm just using some ribbon to make a tassel. And I'm using some fishing line there. And some of these had a little hook on the bottom. And so I'm just tying that tassel on there to hang from the bottom. And I do this for the single hearts and the double hearts. So the double hearts will have one that doesn't have a ring on the bottom and one that does. So I'm putting the tassels on the ones with the rings, and you'll see. So here's the finished ones. These would just be cute to hang in a wreath or hang on a knob on your dresser or a cabinet. These turned out really cute. Just a nice little accent piece. So these are the single hearts. And then this is the double hearts. I hung these with ribbon. And I hung the one without a tassel above the one with a tassel. So let me know what you think about these. This was a really quick project and just a little accent for Valentine's Day. But these could stay up all year long. And with that, we're going to move on to project number 3. Now, this one is very different. I spotted these wooden scissors in a bin at the thrift store the other day, and I just knew I had to have these. They're so cool. You can hang them on the wall. But I'm going to give these a coat of paint. Actually, it's going to take 2 coats of paint on this. And I'm just going to cover the front and the back really well. And this is Farm Fresh by DIY, and you can see that it's drying really quickly on this piece. But I'm going to hit it with the heat tool just to make that process a little faster, and go in with that second coat. And I do cover the entire piece with this paint. If you have a crafter in your life, this would be beautiful for them to put in their craft room or just as a decoration. I've never seen anything like these before, and I thought they were so cool. And they do open and close. And then once this is all painted, I'm going to come in with a baby wipe and distress it some. And now I'm using the transfers from Floral Anthology, and I'm just cutting up pieces to fit on here, rubbing those transfers down, and then lifting up. And here you see I'm using just pieces and layering them together. That's the beauty of these transfers, is that you can layer them one on top of the other. You can use pieces from different transfer books together and create your own design. So every piece is unique. And I'm just taking all the little leftover bits here to add on to this. There's not a lot of big spaces on here, so I had to get a little creative with some of these pieces. And some of these, like this one, has some that's hanging off the edge. And so once I put that on, I just rub those down onto the sides. And here are the finished scissors. I love the way these turned out. I think they are so cute. And like I said, would make a great gift for a crafter in your life. I did give this a coat of liquid patina to seal in the paint and the transfers. Let me know what you think about these projects. Today's video was quick and easy, and I really love how all of these projects turned out. Again, if you want some of the IOD paint inlays or transfers, you can find them on my website at emptynestcreation.com. Thank you again so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.